And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Walker Aviation Museum, Robert Sherman back with us. Morning, Robert. How you doing today?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Doing good. How was UFO Festival and 4th of July weekend for everybody?
It was
for you
good.
guys?
I was the only one holding down the fort because Bob Donnell is in California with his kids, and Ted Smith, my other partner out there, has been sick for about 3 weeks. So.
Oh, no.
And Bob Donnell had COVID. Got over that, and his wife. But so anyway, we it kind of affected some of the things we were doing. We had some Roswell Job Corps people coming out, but we had to cancel that because of them being sick and nobody there to do anything. And we had a group of New Mexico Youth Challenge come out. I had 8 of them. We were supposed to have 16, but 2 groups. But one of the groups, again, they had a COVID issue come up, so they had to cancel that. So anyway, we're expecting hopefully to get some of those Job Corps people out there toward the end of this month and in August.
Good deal. And they get to see all of the cool stuff that...
we're going to put them through about 2.5 hours of a combination of seeing 15 different potential careers, STEM careers, and then the other half of the time they're there to be flying the flight simulators. So.
Good deal. Who knows? Maybe 1 or 2 of those Job Corps students will turn out to be pilots someday, or aircraft
help relieve
mechanics.
The 13,000 shortage that they got.
Yeah, about to say, the way we're looking at for pilots right now, we could probably use some of these folks to step up, get into that training. So.
That's right. So.
I'm pretty sure if you have a pilot's license right now, you could pick the airline of your choice to work at right now. So
yeah, we're still kind of struggling. We've got a couple of people. Ted's joined us, and some other Allie Bishop has joined our group, and she's now a treasurer. Our former treasurer, she's going to be a full-time teacher over at Gateway.
Okay.
So she let that up. But anyway, we've trying to gain some more folks so we have a more flexibility when it comes to scheduling people, because we need about 3 people out there when we're doing a tour.
Okay.
But I think we're going to get Youth Challenge has already said they could probably get several of their instructors over, and we can get them up to speed on the flight simulator, and they can be an instructor.
Oh, good deal.
It'd be kind of fun for them, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Who knows? Could be bite the bug for some of these students and everything else, and get them involved and find their passion here. So that's really good. How was the museum over the weekend here? I imagine you had a few out-of-town guests come walk through the doors of the museum.
About 135 total over the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Part of that included a tour of anywhere from 15 to 25 people came in that took that little tour. They go to the Roswell Daily Record, and then they went over to the theater and had a little play about 1947 incident. And then they lastly came by to see us briefly.
Nice.
So anyway, we were open from 8 until 4. Normally we're open just 2 hours prior to the midday departure, which is right now about 10:02.
Okay.
So I'm going straight from here out there myself and be out there till a little after 10.
Okay.
So, but it's, as a retired person, and doing that, it's always a positive thing because you meet people from all over the country, and inevitably you meet 1 or 2 people that are really fun to talk to and interesting.
Sure.
Every time you go out. So it kind of like, that made it worth it coming out here. Just,
you just get to meet a lot of people. And so I imagine you had probably a lot more 1947 questions this weekend.
Well, we did a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people's the roll of the base during that time.
Too focused on 47 ourselves, but anyway, we kind of made that happen. But we got several interesting questions when we got out there, like where are all the underground hangars and where the CIA hang out. A bunch of other questions. I'm just kind of like, seriously, what are you talking about?
I'm like, they got a break room. It's underground. That's why they're called underground.
Or I could have said I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
That's right. Well, they're underground, of course. That's why they're called underground hangars.
But it hit me with a lot of questions that they've been briefed on during various speakers and stuff, and I didn't have a clue what they're talking about.
Yeah, they probably got a few of those. Where, did you know there's a secret? What? Okay. Keep looking, bud.
So underground hangars. That'd be a pretty big hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway.
Not to mention keeping it secret that time. But anyway.
Who knows? They may have been right. I wouldn't know what's going on.
But could be.
Yeah.
Could be like, oh, yeah, they're over here. Let me push a button. Hold on.
Yeah. So anyway, just let everybody know, first of all, wafbmuseum.org. You can go to there, and when you go to that site, you can see our newsletter. And if you're on the computer looking now, I'm holding it up. But we just have our newsletter, and you can read, all the several pages of that.
Good.
That came out in May. And let's see. So, go on there. You can get a contact point, and we have an email that you can send us, and some other things there.
If you're interested in becoming a member of the Walker Air Force Space Museum, serving on the board, if you'd like to volunteer to work as a docent, or if you have a youth group or a group that would like to come and set up a time to come tour the museum, the Walker Air Force Base website is a great resource for that, wafbmuseum.org.
And on the third page of the newsletter, which you can get to read, has our telephone number out there. It has a Facebook page. It has an email address, and it has our website.
Yeah, very good.
So you can.
And, of course, if you want to donate money direct to the museum, there is a link on the website to do that as well, too.
Right.
And for folks that aren't aware, the Walker Air Force Base Museum is a museum that, goal one, tells people about the history of Roswell Army Airfield and Walker Air Force Base, that end of town called home during World War II and Cold War era. Mm-hmm. And then it also covers the Roswell in this area's role during the Cold War era with the Minutemen missiles and all that kind of stuff, the Atlas and all that.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to people that come in, about 70%, I guess, of our or more of our mission is the history. Mm-hmm. We have a couple touch screens that you can get a 2-minute history of the Atlas missile, 2-minute history of Walker, the Roswell Army Airfield, and then we have YouTube computers running all the time where you're seeing a movie or whatever. And like I'm going to talk to you about, I suggest everybody and all the audience out there tonight, I know you're driving and you can't write this stuff down, but I'll give you some hints on something to watch. It's really interesting YouTube video that we found. And so right now, our current board members and active volunteers are myself, Allie Bishop's our treasurer, Katie Yates, Sandy Correa, Secretary Bob Donnell, Juliana Halverson, Judy Armstrong, Jerry Cloffer, Friar Jurek, Norwalki, and Stephen Miller, and Ted Smith.
Okay.
So anyway, appreciate these folks being part of our group and keeping things rolling. So we have 3 volunteers right now that go out to the museum about 2.5 hours a day prior to the midday airline departure. Right now, it's departing around 10:02, so we go out about 8 o'clock until about 10:15, 10:30.
Okay.
And that's myself, Bob Donnell, and Ted Smith. So.
Very good. Good deal to go out there and then, of course, meet folks coming in or going out of town, and hopefully they spend a few minutes touring the museum and reading about some of the information that went on here in this part of history.
About 70% of what we do is history. The other 30% is dealing with the flight simulators.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is so if you've got young folks and families that want to learn more, that's the other side of the museum is that STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, teaching that, showing careers that use all that STEM-related technology that are kind of in career fields that you would have found at Walker Air Force Space Museum.
Matter of fact, I'll go over those here in just a second. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's that in of itself, and because the with the mission of the Walker Air Force Space Museum, preserving that history and keeping tabs on what happened here during the World War II and the Cold War era. but also creating that next generation of pilots and engineers and scientists and mechanics and airline industry experts and military experts and things like that. This is we're hoping to set the table for that, and that's what they do with all this. So really, when the museum's not showing the history of the base, they're using that time to inspire kids to perhaps pursue careers in engineering and pilots and aircraft industry and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we couldn't be doing this if it wasn't for Excel Energy Foundation, which gave us a nice grant that got the 2 flight simulators.
Good deal.
So we appreciate that. I'm actually right now writing an after-action report, that you get a grant, and about a year or so later they ask you, well, how'd it go and what,
how'd the money, what'd you do with the money, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the new car that you bought?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, them ribs were tasty.
Yeah. No, they've done a great job for helping us out, and we really appreciate it. We need, for example, we've coordinated so far with, Roswell Independent School District, Ruben Bolaños, who's a STEM coordinator for schools, Sidney Gutierrez, Charter School, Gateway School, All Saints Catholic, the Assurance Home, Civil Air Patrol, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, New Mexico Youth Challenge, Job Corps, local churches, and Eastern New Mexico University STEM department. And we also been touching base with people come in here from Dexter and Hagerman and Artesia. Say, come on, if you can, just call us, get set up a time. We'd love to have you come up and go through. Only problem with us, we got 2 simulators and we got a fairly small area, is that we can handle and effectively work this with about only 8 people per visit.
Okay.
So we get 8 people for 2.5 hours. And they come in, and what we do is give them like a 10-minute or 12, 15-minute thing on the history of Walker and Roswell Army Airfield. And then we break them into 2 groups of 4. And they end up getting to be a pilot or co-pilot on the simulator for an hour.
Okay.
So they get about half an hour each. And then the other 4 get 15 different, get some different videos that kind of opens up their eyes to some stuff they may not have thought about as they're approaching high school, or as they're high school getting ready to go to college. So some of those things like are how to choose a major. And this is talking about a Venn diagram. It's a thing where you pick what you're good at and what people pay you for and what you're passionate about.
Gotcha.
And the center where they all overlap is kind of what you should do as a career, because that way, like they say, you can work all your life but never work a minute of your life because that's your passion.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That type of stuff.
If you're able to find what
yeah, if you can
love,
find that.
and then you figure out some way for people to pay you to do it.
And then we show them a video like the following: Science, Technology, and Math Overview, Careers in Aviation, Eastern New Mexico University Roswell Aviation Maintenance Technician Program, A Day in the Life of a Wind Turbine Engineer, Crumlin Auto Group, and Eastern New Mexico University Auto Mechanic Program, stuff like that. It just goes on. And then we end up with some Air Force, real short, kind of like recruiting videos that are really interesting. One is a technical training overview, Air Force aerospace ground equipment, aerospace air traffic control, Air Force electronic principles, U.S. Air Force geospatial intelligence. And the last one we show them is A Day in the Life at CIA.
Woo.
And they talk about 6 different hiring areas that the CIA has, and a lot of them are in the science technology area.
Sure.
So it's kind of like...
I guess, and imagine all of it's not secret.
Yeah, we got that
too.
idea because some of the science magazines, like Science News, they had big full-page ads, color ads on the back, CIA advertising, hey, you interested in science, come see us, So anyways, it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
Kids get a chance to do that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully it inspires these next generations of kids to pursue these careers and to go, whether it's the CIA or they're working on a flight line, repairing aircraft and things like that. That's, all of them are great careers and great paths for futures for these kids. So I hopefully these kids come out there and 1 or 2 of them get the bug and get bit and get interested in that kind of stuff. And I'm very, very curious to see if they get another resurge in the military with the new Top Gun movie. You know, like they did the first time in the 80s when that Top Gun movie came out. I'm sure the Navy and Air Force too probably got a little boost in recruitment and things like that. Even I know it's a Navy movie and those are Navy folks, but some people see planes and they.
Oh, I like Navy guys. We really worked really close when I was in the Air Force on our job with the Navy, because the Navy actually, to be honest with you, had a better program. We were dealing with aerospace physiology, human factors, effects with flyers and stuff. But the Navy had a really good aggressive program. So to be honest with you, we were, in partners with them and copying a lot of stuff that they had done that had been very successful.
Well, and that makes sense. I mean, they chew a lot of the same dirt there with the aviators for the Air Force and the Navy.
Right.
Things like only difference is the missions of what they do with their planes and things like that.
And they ask some people, like some guys who were really in the Top Gun, real Navy guys doing that, and they were being nice, kind of like my daughter called and she was so excited. Oh, you got to go, Dad! You got to go see this next one. And first of all, I'm not. Totally married to Tom Cruise. But anyway, he's okay. But some of the stuff in the flights, are interesting and great for movies person, but they don't.
Oh yeah,
in real world, when you're doing air-to-air combat, for example, when they're planes, you're plane off on your wing and you're going after somebody, you're about a quarter of a mile apart.
Yeah.
You're not sitting there like you're flying in the Thunderbirds, touching wings or something.
Yeah, dogfighting in modern aircraft is way different than World War II era dogfighting. It's not the same animal here. But it doesn't make as exciting of a movie
that's right.
to dogfight, and
that's what the guy said. That's what the Navy guy said. He said, well, for the excitement of the movie and people to watch it, you have to get by that, but it's not totally like it really happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to be honest, I was talking about this at the beginning. I was like, the mission that they're doing in the first place, there's about 10 other military operations they would have done it a different way with less loss of life, less danger, a lot of less variables in there. And that would have been a 5-minute thing, and they would have made a 3-hour movie about it.
That's true.
But it was entertaining and it was fun and all that. Loved the movie. But yes, realism and combat accuracy. Yeah, you might want to curtail that a little bit.
Speaking of movies, good lead in, Mike.
Yes.
Okay. An interesting video on YouTube I would recommend is the title is the Enola Gay B-29 Superfortress.
Okay.
With / the bomber that dropped the atomic bomb. It's narrated by Gary Sinise.
Okay.
And it's 1 hour and 28 minutes long on YouTube. And it addresses the difficult development of the B-29. It goes into the biography of background of Paul Tibbets growing up as a little kid and then flying in the back of a guy that was flying out and storming, with these double-wing airplanes, throwing baby Ruths out the airplane. And his dad let him do that. And his dad ran a candy store.
Nice.
But they would go by and they'd throw out these, it was a new candy bar, just hit the road, was Baby Ruth. So anyway, that's how he got introduced to flying, like, oh, I like this. But anyways, his background of being, Paul Tibbets being the pilot of the Enola Gay of dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. The selection of the atomic bomb crews, the training of the missions leading to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And a lot of the narration was by a navigator of the Enola Gay. He was like the only living at the time they did this with Gary Sinise. They had some other pictures of, the pilot from the Enola Gay. But anyway, very good. And it's one that's 1 hour and 28 minutes long, so you're on the right one.
Okay.
The Enola Gay B-29 Superfortress, the bomber that dropped the atomic bomb.
Nice.
And you find out a lot of interesting stuff. Like I watched it and like, man, I learned a bunch of stuff that I thought I knew a lot about it, but I didn't know before.
Have you ever seen the plane? Have you ever been to D.C. and seen the plane?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty plane. It's pretty. I've seen it in a couple different forms. The first time I saw it was in the Air and Space Museum in downtown D.C., but it wasn't assembled.
Wow.
What they had like the nose section and a piece of the tail, and you could see parts of it. And this was before they had the Dulles facility.
Yeah.
And once they opened the Dulles facility, they put it back together, and now it's where it sits currently is in that Dulles facility, all put together. But I remember before that, they used to have a little wing or section in the Air and Space Museum in D.C. for the Enola Gay, and they didn't have it all assembled, but they had parts of it there, and you could actually, if I remember at the time, they had the front cockpit section, and you could kind of look in and see the cockpit. You couldn't go in it, but you could kind of see it through glass what the cockpit of the Enola Gay looked like. And now it's a little different. It's the whole plane's put together, but it's pretty cool. I think if you ever get a chance to DC, please go and see that museum and see some of that and some of the other amazing aircraft that call that place home.
My history tidbit of the day is basically taken from that video. Can we run that right quick? Quick history?
Yeah.
I'm running out of time here.
Yeah.
Enola Gay, boxcar, the great artiste, another silver plate B-29s. And the silver plate were the name given to the B-29s that were modified to carry and deliver the atomic bomb.
Okay.
Okay.
They were given the nuke package to carry nukes. Gotcha.
And they had to have it where that big bomb would fit in the bomb bay and stuff. But the aircrew, including Paul Tibbets, who flew the Enola Gay, Hiroshima, and atomic bombing missions, were stationed at Wendover Field. A lot of people had the misconception that the boxcar and Enola Gay all came from Roswell, dropped the bomb, and then came back to Roswell. But Roswell at that time was doing pilot training and bombardier training.
Yeah, so the people inside were getting trained on how to do the mission in Roswell.
But when the war was over, that's when Roswell Army Airfield turned from a training base into a bomber base.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right. So they were actually being trained and stationed at, like I mentioned last month, Wendover Field in Utah. And they were doing all kinds of maneuvers. By taking out all the guns and ammunition, they had all the machine guns taken out of it. It reduced the weight by 7,000 pounds.
Okay.
And they were trying to fly as high and fast as possible because at that time they were pretty safe because they would be able to fly the, deliver the atomic bomb at over 30,000 feet, about 31,000, something like that. So anyway, the Colonel Blanchard at the time, William Blanchard, who came back here and was kind of famous for the UFO thing because he's the first one that said, found a disc or, and then he immediately went on leave after that. And somebody else followed up. But Colonel Blanchard at that time was the wing commander at Tinian.
Okay.
And he was telling, I think, LeMay that my crews are perfectly capable of dropping the atomic bomb. We don't need this Tibbets guy and his group out of Wendover to do this. So anyway, this went on, and finally they got Blanchard and put him in the B-29 and took him on one of these practice missions where they went up and did the bomb drop. So they take these big pumpkin bombs that had powder in them, regular bomb, and they were actually dropping those occasionally in Japan.
Okay.
So people would see 2 or 3 planes coming over, and then one bomb would go off, and okay. So they got used to no, it's no big deal.
Right.
But anyway, back at Wendover and stuff, when they were practicing this, they'd go up to about 31,000 feet, drop the bomb, and then immediately make a super hard right turn to maximum turn and dive 2,000 feet down to maybe 29,000 feet to try to change direction from where the bomb path was taking. So they wanted to be at least 9 miles away when the bomb went off at 1,860 feet above the ground.
Okay.
Now, I've seen 1,890 feet above the ground, but they had a radar trigger on the bomb that caused it to go off at that altitude above the ground.
I got you.
And that gave them an estimated 43 seconds from release until the atomic bomb went off.
Okay.
And it ended up making that about 9 miles prior to that. However, a couple of incidences occurred during training where the pumpkin bomb went off about 10 seconds after leaving the bomb bay for some reason, some malfunction. So if that would have been the atomic bomb,
they would have been done.
They've been vaporized, right?
Yeah. That's not enough time to get away.
No. Need more than maybe, quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's just one of those things, and that's basically what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, it's very interesting bombing and how they, the history of and learning, and of course by the time they get to dropping the nukes and things like that, but there's a lot of science to the way they drop bombs, and especially if they're trying to hit a specific target. And this is back World War II, where we didn't have smart munitions. We didn't have laser guided or satellite guided bombs to where the pilot can just pickle off the bomb and then it'll guide to its target while it continues on about its day. These are and if they're trying to be precision with it, they have to fly low. Obviously with nukes they're not, but they're kind of in essence diving down and then dropping the bomb and then diving back up and getting out of the way.
Right.
And so they had to do things, and not even the non-nuclear bombs, just regular bombs. Some they would, put these big, more elaborate fin packages so the bombs fall slower.
Right.
So it gives them time because they had to get down real low, drop those bombs, but they need enough time to climb and get out of there without it blowing them up.
Yeah.
So they have to put these crazy fin packages to slow the drag, create drag, and some even had parachutes where they would parachute the bomb in, and it would slow the bomb enough time so the pilot can go get altitude and get out of there before it went boom. Imagine that with a mushroom cloud that, like you said, you got to get 9 miles away.
Yeah, it's another thing. They were talking about flying back after that bomb happened, the first bomb, when they went back to Tinian, and or maybe Iwo Jima, I forgot. Anyway, they went back, but they could see the cloud of Hiroshima until they were approximately 400 miles away from Hiroshima.
Oh, wow.
It was so high and so big, they could see where the explosion had occurred until they were approximately 400 miles away.
Wow.
And so they were talking about, the crew were like really impressed, like, whoa, this is some type of bomb we dropped here.
Yeah. Yeah, and you think about it because, let's face it, I mean, those guys knew it was something special there. Right. They probably didn't know exactly what was going on or what it could do, and then they see that, they're like, whoa, that's what we just did? Whoa, you know what I mean? Because it's a need-to-know thing. The weapons guys that load it probably had an inkling of what's in there. The pilot probably did, and maybe the bombardier, but the rest of the crew probably didn't know, and certainly the crew chief and whoever else was maintaining the aircraft didn't know. So it's pretty interesting when they find that stuff out. It's cool history for folks that love to research that stuff.
The monetary support, of our museum, I need to make sure I mention these folks: Roswell Toyota, XL Energy Foundation, Pioneer Bank, Featherstone Development, Dr. Phil Cathy and Paul Engstrom, Glenn's Furniture, Air Sale, and the 6th Bomb Wing Reunion Group has given us some money because
nice.
They've collected some money in the past, and members of the 6th Bomb Wing are getting older, and they just feel like maybe they can't have these tours like they used to, 5-10 years ago, where they'd all come in a group. And so anyway, we've had them send us some money, and we really appreciate that.
That's nice. They want to preserve the history.
Yeah.
And preserve what that's, I love that kind of stuff. So the public, please come check out this beautiful, fortunate little museum we have right in your own backyard here, celebrating the history of Walker
Aviation. We could actually show you the real high-tech U.S. Navy aircraft range calculator that we have on display.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is back in World War II.
Nice.
And it's right next to my slide rule over there. But it's similar to a slide rule. You hold it in your hand, you hold it 24 inches from your eye, and you have 4 sections of this little device, and you move a little item, and it has a pointer that goes around and as you move this, there's 2 little wires in this device that you're holding up that's hollow. There's 2 little wires move out and back together. So you hold it up and point it at the aircraft, and it has a list of the different aircraft, and most people could recognize, this is a Mr. Smith one, or whatever it is.
Mm.
So they would do that, and it would go wingtip to wingtip, and the 4 sections were based on different wingspans. And as you got it wingtip to wingtip, then the pointer would say exactly how many thousands of feet away it was.
Oh, wow.
So you tell the gunner next to you, he's at 3,000 feet, or he's at 2,000 feet.
That's pretty
so it's
ingenious.
kind of like prior to the, electronic radar, that type stuff.
That's like tracking by hand.
Yeah, and everybody likes that. Like, wow, that's really awesome. You just hold it out there, and first of all, you pick out what aircraft it is, and then you just move it back and forth. You got wingtip to wingtip, and it tells you how far the plane is.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So anyway, that's an example of what we got out there.
Good deal. So come check it out. Come see that. And you wonder, and to be honest, and this is, I know you hear this joke, but this sounds like one of those instruments where it really does make sense when you peel back the layers. Is you always hear the joke like the army paid $400 for a hammer or whatever it is, when you could have bought it for $10. And yeah, that's the joke. But then you realize once you peel back a layer or two, well, this hammer is used for a specific thing during a very certain deal, and a normal hammer wouldn't be able to get it done. And like I've heard, there was an example on West Wing one time where they were making fun of an ashtray that was some Navy general. He's like, yeah, this is what they use in the thing, and they were like, that's a $1,000 ashtray, and you're like, what do you mean? And then he starts smacking it on the ground, and it wouldn't break. He goes, because if this shit got blown off, and then that's why it's $1,000 ashtray. And it's kind of, so it's about perspective. And when you were talking about that calculator, it reminded me of that a little bit. It's like, yeah, a calculator, but when you see what it's designed to do and what it's for and what environment it's supposed to work in, right, now that makes a little bit more sense on why it's that way. I'm not saying justify $400 hammers, but sometimes there is a reason for things that we don't realize, and then when you realize, you're like, okay, now that makes a little more sense.
One of the things I've observed is we've got 3 rifles from World War II on display in a lighted case, and I'd say 60% of the men that come in there go straight to that gun case, and it's the rifles used by the Russians, one by the Germans, and one by the Japanese, and they find it very interesting, very nice. But it's kind of a joke because it's kind of like the guys go straight to the rifles first, even though it doesn't really have much to do with Walker Air Force Base. But
hey,
there we go.
We love things that blow up and things that make things go blow up. That's just what we
go
are.
Boom. Yeah.
But folks, like you said, that the museum's open during flight schedules right now. You can check AA.com and work around that. Don't forget, if you have a youth group or something, like set up time to come be a part of the museum or set up a tour, just reach out. You could go to the Walker Aviation Museum Facebook page and shoot a message there, or go to wafbmuseum.org, and you'll find contact information there. And, of course, if you want to serve as a docent or whatever, just reach out there as well.
You can also text me on my phone. Don't call me because I probably won't answer if I don't recognize it.
But shoot a text.
It's a local area code, 575, and then 420. And I know you're driving, you can't write this down, but 420 and then 3 and then 789.
Very good. 3789.
Yeah, 3789 and the previous 420.
Good deal.
And just text me and say, hey, we got a group of 13 to 19-year-olds that would like to come out in a group of 8 and for 2.5 hours and get the stuff.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Happy 4th weekend.
Same to you.
And we'll see you here next month, okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir. Don't work too hard.
By the way, we appreciate your service as a weapons guy with the stealth fighters.
That's right.
Stealth fighter with fighter bombers, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the great their F moniker, but there's no fighter about them. That was part of the Soviet Union Cold War thing. Technically, they're B-117s, but they're labeled F-117.
F-117.
So.
Yeah.
But thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay.
And you as well. 7:54. Quick commercial break.